Fam, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Today is Wednesday. It is March 5th. It is 5:30 p.m. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, following Alabama's second practice of spring ball. Let me know where you're watching from. I appreciate hearing from you guys today on this show before Alabama's basketball game tonight against Florida. We're going to dive into Ryan Grubb's interview. I thought this was a fantastic interview. Look, I'll get right to it. Alabama has 2 head football coaches on its staff. 3 if you want to add Mo Linquist. 4 if you want to add Kane Womack. I mean, think about just the coaches that are on the staff. Hearing Ryan Grubb was fantastic. It's one of the better coaching interviews that I've heard. I love how he was straight to the point. He made really good comments, talked a little bit about schematics, but mostly about the players and what he's seen. And look, when asked about freshman A.K. Deere, the running back, or Michael Carroll, he said, look, they got a long way to go, and I respect what he had to say today. So we'll play that interview. We'll chop it up. I'll go over some of the key comments from today. That was really the highlight of today. I mean, absolutely great interview. We'll talk about the early offensive line rotation. Honestly, I wouldn't make too much of the offensive line at this point in time. You know, you have Caden Proctor, who is limited during this point in time. They're mixing and matching with different guys. But we'll hit on it, and we'll talk about it, and we'll discuss Alabama's offensive line just a little bit. We'll also talk about the defensive line. I hit on this earlier today. From what I've seen with the defensive line so far, I like what I've seen. I know it's early, it's 2 days, but Tim Keenan, LT Overton leading the drills, like those guys. I'll talk a little bit about it as well. RT, what's up? I see you inside the comment box. Nicole Covington, good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon to you. I appreciate you being here. And Justin Hill, as a freshman, he's turning heads. And so is Latier Brooks. Yo, like my man who's just a freshman wide receiver, this will be the second time that I've spoken highly of him. I saw him make a ridiculous grab. I think it was Justin Smith, the touchdown Alabama, has some great footage of him chopping his feet off the line. I love to talk about the wide receivers. I love this wide receiver room in its entirety. These are the items that we'll hit on today. So I appreciate you guys being here for the early spot this afternoon. I know I wanted to jump on right before Alabama has a basketball game. I know you guys are going to watch that. And RTJ says this inside the comment box. I just bought the Fox Nation for a month for the Tie That Binds, and definitely watch the latest series. Yeah, look, listen, I'm in there a couple times. I was in there this morning. It was cool. Gelada, what's up, man? All right, so let's get to it. We'll probably be here for 30 minutes or so. I'll take you right to the basketball game. I know you guys eager to see the Alabama Crimson Tide play Florida. Hopefully they bounce back. It's been a hell of a schedule for these guys. So what we have here in the opening is Ryan Grubb, and I'm sure you saw the interview, but let's give some context to it. You have Grubb, second day on the job here, talking about the quarterbacks. And he goes through each of the quarterbacks, talking about these guys. It's a short clip. It's about 40 seconds. Then we'll move to the next topic.
A lot of things. I think that they each, just like any quarterback, have their own individual, strengths and weaknesses. And I think, Ty has done a good job. I thought he had the biggest jump from day 1 to day 2, just as far as like being able to take in all the information, process quickly and move. Austin's done a really good job of showing command for a young player. And then Keelan is awesome, man. He's very unflappable. And, even when things don't go right, and they invariably will for a freshman quarterback, I think he's done an awesome job of just kind of staying the course and being very steady. And he can make a lot of plays.
All right, that's Coach Ryan Grubb talking about the 3 quarterbacks real quick. And I have some more clips of him talking about Keelan Russell, Ty Simpson, and Austin Mack individually that I'll play here in a second. But just that, talking about him being unflappable, well, that's so important for a freshman that comes in, specifically when you're a quarterback, right? Because you have to have that next play mentality. You have to understand where you are when you first get here, and you have to earn the starting spot. You have nothing is given, specifically at the quarterback position. I don't care who you are. You don't just come in and you're not the guy, right? It takes time to develop that, and you have to show the team that you're capable to bounce back, to make a big play and come back and make another one, right? And if you make a bad play, come back and make a good play. So I like that, and off to a really good start. I'll tell you what, I feel just listening to Ryan Grubb, and look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, I don't think he's going to be here for long after this season. This guy is a head football coach, 100%. We continue. Here he is talking more about the quarterbacks
very steady,
on this interview today.
When you look at the film last year and then the time you've been able to spend with him so far, what's your impressions of Ty Simpson?
Ty is like I said, I think he's really improving. The thing I like and appreciate about Ty already that I can tell is he's very serious, about wanting to succeed, and I think he's had the mindset that he's been ready, in that he's kind of waiting in the wings, so to speak. So I think for me, it's just, I know that he's committed to the process. And I think that that's what makes great quarterbacks. As long as he understands that it's going to take a little bit and he's got to be committed to those steps, he's going to do great.
And that's one of the great things about Ty Simpson that we've seen so far is being committed to the process. And I don't think you see that a lot at times right now in the world of college football is guys waiting their turn. And I think in this fast revolving door of being here, being there, I don't play, I'm leaving, like it's good to see. That's why you want to root for Ty Simpson. If he's capable to be the guy, that's even better that you have a guy that is waited for that spot, right? Because, he hasn't just been given the job. He's waited. He stayed within the process, waited his time. And while he's taken, and a lot of people make a big deal out of these reps. I saw someone inside the comment box earlier today talking about, like, who's first, second, third. Like, I'm not caught up in that. Like, that's what's happening. But, like, it's the second day of practice. Let's see what happens the first game of the season. There's many different reasons to pull for Ty other than that he's been here. I think Ty has shown that he has a live arm. He's shown really good athleticism. He has a really high IQ when it comes to being a quarterback. His dad is a head football coach at UT Martin. And he's a competitor. So I like those aspects about him. Here's Ryan Grubb continuing to talk. This time I think it's about Austin Mack.
You played a big role in recruiting Austin Mack. Just how excited are you to get your hands back on him and work with him again?
Yeah, I've always believed in Austin. I think he's got a big upside. Obviously, I thought he really had done a great job working on his technique, throwing motion, things like that. I can tell he's been working hard over the last year. So, and he's a very bright kid. I know that he can process the offense. He came into our system really, really young, 17-year-old freshman. And kind of the thought there was when we got Austin to Washington was that he would have 6 months with Mike Penix and kind of see how it's supposed to be done. And I certainly think he's gravitated to that. And it looks like he's matured a lot and excited to be with him.
I like that. I mean, you look at Austin Mack, and I think a lot of people, sometimes forget about him because they're so excited about Keelan Russell, right? It's always who's the next guy rather than who's here. It's important to note that Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb recruited Austin Mack, right? And just as you heard Ryan Grubb speaking right there, he's saying that, they had a vision of him working under Michael Penix Jr. and, learning the philosophy. So he's grown up. I wouldn't count him out overall. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. And as you'll see, we have some photos in. This is all courtesy of the University of Alabama, the footage and the photos and stuff like that. But there's no one else like him, right? 6'7", 6'8", whatever you want to call him. And he can throw the rock pretty good. Here's Coach Ryan Grubb specifically talking about Keelan Russell.
He plays.
What's going to be your compared to other young quarterbacks that you've coached?
It's been a while. I thought, one of the things I noticed, think about Jake Haener way back to Fresno State, who's at the Saints now. Jake had a really whippy, quick release. Once he made his decision, he was very decisive with the ball. I see that with Key a lot. And then Keelan's vision reminds me of Mike a little bit. Penix, he has good, wide vision with the field and can see it even when he doesn't know exactly what's going on. So he's still working through all the processes, but he'll get there. He's a good player.
How excited are you just to see what Keelan Russell can do when the bullets start flying, right? Some players have it in them and to just make plays. But I think it's important to have a quarterback in here specifically because you have such a dynamic wide receiver room. Like there's a clip that I just saw recently of Ryan Williams. He's open about 50 times, and he still can't get him the football. You need to be able to feed these wide receivers, and I think that's going to be the difference in wins and losses this year. That's simple, right? Can the quarterbacks be able to connect with the talent that they have at their disposal? Because let's face it, this is probably one of the most talented wide receiver rooms in the country. Once again, And I think they're going to be better wide receivers than they were even last year because Ryan Williams is another year in the program. Jeremy Bernard is back. Isaiah Horton has a lot of experience. You talk about all the other guys that are added to the room as well, right? Jalen Mbakwe, we've seen him getting some reps. Jalen Hell, he's back. He's healthy. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So it's up to the quarterback to get them the football. But, of course, we got to get to the offensive line. We continue with Coach Grubb.
Third time's a charm, right? I think there's a lot of factors. Obviously, I felt like there's a lot of things already in place here. Hats off to the staff they did a lot of heavy lifting this last year. Just implementing a lot of things that are within the system offensively. So being able to come in here and get some things off the ground that guys have already seen, I felt like, I could be an addition to, not necessarily like we have to totally uproot everything that's going on. Certainly there's some things that I do that are different and just like everybody, but it just felt like there's a lot of groundwork laid that, we should have a good opportunity for success.
He's absolutely right. I mean, dodging that first year, this guy might be an absolute genius, right? Think about this. The guys who first came, right, to Alabama from Washington, that was a hell of a year, okay? And we're hoping to forget about the year as quickly as possible. You had to, get acclimated to Alabama from Washington. You had to build relationships. You had to be compared to Coach Saban about every single thing, right? Even the way that you go to bomb hours and you field phone calls. He ditched all that, right, by going to Seattle and rolling with the Seahawks. He mentions in this interview as well that, one of the reasons that contributed to him staying in Seattle was because the offensive coordinator position came up with the Seahawks, right? But he says this, and it's kind of the same thing that Greg Burns said yesterday, is like the stability is here. And just as Grubb said, the groundwork has been laid. So he comes in, he's in a great spot. While he has a lot of pressure, I think he is in a fantastic spot because you come in, clean slate at the quarterback position, right? Things are already laid here. You already returned the players. It feels like Coach Kalen DeBoer's team now. It didn't at this point last year. So he comes in at a perfect time. We continue.
What's going to be your approach with how you kind of oversee the offense? Because you have Nick Sheridan now with the quarterbacks, but obviously that's a high, important position.
Yeah.
Are you going to spend more time there, you think, or just?
Yeah, I always think it's got to start with the quarterback room. You got to have if I don't have a relationship with the guy that's throwing the ball or in the huddle on Saturdays, I think that, I'd be putting Alabama at a disadvantage. So I always got to be on the same page with those guys in sync. Nick being here obviously is a huge advantage to me just because it gives me the flexibility to be in the rooms that I need to be in and talk to the people I got to talk to. And so I think that part for me has been it's been awesome already. That way if another position group or coach needs help, I can move myself into that room and try to utilize my skills with the offense somewhere else. But, most of the time it's always going to be with the quarterbacks. I just think that relationship is key.
All right, so what he said right there was huge. I mean, this guy has coached the offensive line before, right? He's been tenured a long time. Nick Kelly has a great article on AL.com talking about him, managing 80,000 hogs, right? Farmer. But here, while Nick Sheridan has the title as quarterbacks, I mean, he just said that he's going to be working with the quarterbacks, which is really great because let me tell you why. The quarterbacks have here at Alabama, I think, have been underserved the last several years. They haven't had somebody really developing the quarterbacks. And I think that these guys make so much in terms of like a jump forward. I think they're much better by August because they're going to be with these guys all the time. I'm talking Brian Grubb, Nick Sheridan, whoever the other assistant coaches are that are helping out with the quarterbacks. I just felt in the past, 3 or 4 years, they haven't had that development with the quarterbacks. That's just my opinion, but that's why I'm excited about Ryan Grubb coming in. And you just heard him say he's going to stick with the quarterbacks, but if, he needs to go work with Shep with the wide receivers or Kapilovic with the offensive line, he's able to do that too. But I like the fact that he's working with the quarterbacks. We continue.
Obviously, with past experience with Jamarcus Shepard, Nick Sheridan, Kalen DeBoer, is that dynamic kind of returning to that? Is it, kind of like riding a bike?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, like the first time I heard Shep being loud down the hallway, I just kind of had a big smile on my face. I think that the part that gets underestimated a little bit in situations like that is where you have relationships that you have to go through bumps, right? Like tough things, whether it's on or off the field. I think when you put the investment and time into relationships like that, then when you got to figure out how to throw the ball against, cover 3, that part seems pretty easy. So I think that it's just familiarity and the ease of transition through some of the tough moments makes it a lot easier.
All right, we have some photos now that we'll go over, and I think I'll see if I can add some footage as well. But, I think, what's up, Jarvis? I see you inside the comment box. Byron Walker inside the comment box. We'll go back to Grubb before we dip out here, talking about Grubb. But this was his interview. You can watch it in its entirety on our YouTube channel. I'm sure you could find it on other channels as well. But I think, Byron's completely right. This is exactly why Coach Saban wanted him. I don't know how long he's going to be here. I would say this is the year that he's here, and he's going to catapult to greatness. He's a future head coach, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it is what it is. So let me get this footage added real quick, and then we'll continue. But let me ask you inside the comment box, over under, how many years do you think Grubb is here at Alabama? Honestly, answer this while I do some housekeeping on this side. Over under, how long do you think Grubb will be here in Tuscaloosa? Because when I think about it, sorry, I'm doing like a million different things.
Ease of transition through.
Let's see if I can do this.
Some of the tough moments.
1 second.
Makes it a lot easier.
Stop. So let's see. Cameron's saying too realistic. Give me 1 second. I don't know. I'm saying, I don't know. I think, to me, this is it. This is like the year, so enjoy him. I thought that was like
disadvantage. So
I thought this was one of the better interviews that we've had too. Let's see if I can get this slide up. All right, multitasking on the fly. Thanks for your patience. I should have had that prepared earlier, but I was making spaghetti downstairs. And then I got my mom in. She just came in from New Mexico. All right, we continue. Appreciate it. Thanks for giving me some grace. I do every single thing that you see, I do it all like on the fly. So I appreciate it. We have some video. This is courtesy of the University of Alabama. Okay. You have the quarterbacks right here. I'll slow it down. I'll show you what stood out to me, and then I'll provide a couple different takeaways, and then I'll get you to the Alabama basketball game. Okay. You have Austin Mack right here. You have Keelan Russell, and you have Ty Simpson. Other things that stood out to me today, watching the quarterbacks throw. I mean, I just think the size of Austin Mack, that stands out. But, it was interesting to see what Ryan Grubb said, because this stood out to me as well. I saw, like, the flick of the wrist that Keelan Russell has, like when he pops it out, it just comes out. Here's Jeremy Bernard right here, one of Alabama's very talented wide receivers. Here's Ryan Williams. The wide receiver room, get these guys the ball as many times possible, right? Number 3, there's Jalen Mbakwe. Let's see, number 11, Rico Scott. This is Josh Cuevas right here, number 80. He's due for a really big year. I can't wait to see him. Which tight end? How you feeling about the tight ends? 5 Adam, I'll get to some nuggets in just a second. Let's pause this right here, talking about the offensive line, okay? So the offensive line, look, I wouldn't make too much about the rotation today. I think it's important to note that Arquell Newgum, who is a transfer from Ball State, was working at the left tackle position. You also have Olas Allen, who was working at the guard position. You had Parker Brailsford in at center. You had Jaden Roberts at right guard, and you had Casey Poe getting some reps at tackle as well. Same thing with Michael Carroll. Jackson Lloyd was also seeing time at tackle. I don't know where Wilcom Formby is. I don't think there's like anything wrong with him. I know that he might have been getting taped during that time. Who knows? And I think that, I know this for sure, Caden Proctor is in a limited jersey. The positive side is the tackle. There's going to be a lot of guys that get opportunities at tackle. I just didn't know that like Casey Poe would be seeing time at tackle. Is it concerning right now? What do you think? Are you concerned about the tackle position right now at this point in time? Still, it's been 2 days. You've seen what I've seen. Think about the tackles that Alabama's currently had, right? Working at tackle. You've heard Michael Carroll being working at tackle. You heard Casey Poe. You've heard Arkwell and Newgum. So I think this is what's happening right now with the tackle position. I feel that Alabama is giving these guys opportunities to get reps, but they're also seeing like, hey, do we need to figure out if we really need to go into the portal to bring somebody else in or two guys in, right? I'm a little bit concerned, to be honest, because to my knowledge, and look, I would make nothing about the offensive line today. Like, this has nothing. These guys who were like starting during this little window, they're not starters, okay? But like, from what I understood is like Arkel Newgum just started playing the game not too long ago. So I don't know. I think they're giving these guys opportunities to get better. We continue with the footage courtesy of University of Alabama. Got big 71 right here coming off the ball. So there's Parker Brailsford. Jaden Roberts, hopefully he's healthy coming back to this year. Another shot. I mean, having this guy come back was absolutely monumental, right? You got a good catch coming up here from Ryan Williams. That's Jeremy Bernard right here. Number 2 coming up is Ryan Williams. This guy's so sticky. He's always catching something, up in the air. Look at the running backs. Jam Miller. Oh, my goodness. 220 pounds of him. 15 pounds of Richard Young. Here's number 12, Keelan Russell handing it off. Look, that's Daniel Hill at 242 pounds. Look at this. Let's rewind this real quick. You tell me inside the comment box, does Daniel Hill, number 4, does he look like he's 240 pounds? Where's he keeping this weight? Look at this. He don't look 240 to me. Maybe those legs, man. There's AK Deer number 0, right? Another shot of Jam Miller. The running backs are just, man, I love the running backs. This is right there. That is Xavier Brown. Okay, let's pause it on him. He's like a vet. The guy is only a freshman, and he's like the veteran in the room because Damani Jackson, he's out, right? Royce and the massive leg. Yeah, you could kind of tell in the end that his legs were big. Yeah, good luck going low with him, right? Yeah. But you see a lot of these younger defensive backs that are going to get opportunities during this point in time, right? You have some DBs doing some drills right here. I think, so the silver lining with guys being out is that more younger guys get opportunities. That's what's scary about the transfer portal window is like these would be the guys shining in the spring game, and then these are the guys that are going to be poached on April 15th, right? So you got to be careful about what you show anytime because there's, poacher hunters out there looking for these guys. But new look at some of the guys that have been added. I'll go through like the rosters when we continue to do our roster management. But a lot of people, here's this is Bray Hubbard right here, number 18, fan favorite. But a lot of people today talking about Dejon Lee, and rightfully so. He's number 5 when you see him in the clips. 6'4" corner. I mean, what's not to like about that? And it's exciting to think about him getting opportunities during this point in time. There's number 12. That is Zay Mincy on that side. So this was some footage that was provided by the University of Alabama. Corner still putting in work. I'm hearing good. I continue to hear good things. In fact, there was an interview by Yale, Alabama, talking to Kane Womack, and he was talking about Cam Calhoun again. So Cam Calhoun coming in. Jason is saying inside the comment box, I don't understand why they paid Mbakwe a ton of money. I don't know. We don't know that. I think we assume that that's what happened because he was trying to get poached. But I think about that as well, right? I mean, and how much? You'll never know. So if like you contribute, you'll never know how much these guys are getting paid, and that's just kind of the world that we live in. Here's Daryl Duke Johnson, number 15. That's exciting. The linebackers are fun to watch. These new guys like Luke Metz, Daryl Duke Johnson. Look, the defensive line, okay? This right here is Keon Keeley. Really good things said about him today, too, from Kane Womack. But I said this earlier when I was talking about the defensive line. Tim Keenan, then LT Overton, then either Jordan Renaud, who's number 11, and then Keon Keeley. Those 4 guys on the defensive line have impressed me in these 2 days. And then Steve Mbua, number 25. Watch him as we continue to get footage that is provided, right? But here's big Keon Keeley. Yo, Keon Keeley's just a thick dude, man. I really hope that we were able to see him on the field at some point. This is Isaiah Vega right here, number 88. So, in Jarvis, I think you're 100% right, bro. I think Mbakwe and Hollywood are number 2, number 3. I think that those guys they have to be together. I mean, they're on every single podcast. You had to get those guys together. That's how it is. I think you're right. And could be 2 of the most dangerous football players in the country, right? Photos, again, from the University of Alabama. Here's Xavier Brown. Dude is so good. Here's Jalen Mbakwe rocking number 3. Here's Big Tim Keenan, the 3rd. I'm trying to get out of here by 6 so you guys can get to the basketball game. AK Deer, number 0, down here on the bottom right. And tomorrow we'll go over this a longer portion on my 10 a.m. show. Zay Mincy, Jaden Roberts. Look at Jaden Roberts down here. Parker Brailsford. This guy's good. So, Zay Mincy, yo, this guy's a player. Are you guys excited about Zay Mincy like I am? Man, that kid, he is so talented. And he's a bigger body, too. Think about in the future, if you have Zay Mincy and Dejon Lee, right? Josh Johnson just watched that press conference. Yeah, you can watch it in its entirety on our channel or the university's channel, wherever you want. But no, it was a good interview. Alabama basketball getting set to tip against Florida. Go follow your favorite team rider or, better yet, watch it on TV. Number 5, Florida tonight at 6 p.m. Bama's 3-3 over the last 6 games. It's been a hell of a gauntlet for Alabama basketball, right? I mean, they have played one top 25 after another over the last 6 games. It doesn't get any easier taking on Florida, and then you got Auburn on Saturday. Bama's a 2.5-point favorite at to this point in time. My question is, are they exhausted? I don't know. I would be, with a schedule like that. But you have a great time. Watch Alabama basketball. I appreciate you guys being here for my short breakdown of day 2 of Alabama's football practice, okay? The line has moved to 3.5. All right, thank you, Jarvis. I appreciate it. As news happens, I got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching this short video. I'll be back with a longer video tomorrow. We'll dive into it. We'll hear from Jeremy Bernard as well. That was an interview that was released. We'll pause. We'll ponder. We might even take some calls. Tomorrow, same place, same time, 10 a.m. right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Enjoy Alabama versus Florida. Roll Tide Roll. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. In Military Appreciation Day. Always. Love you guys, and we will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for watching right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Enjoy the basketball game, fam. See you guys.